Good morning and good evening and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for attending our virtual information session for International Student Orientation. Today we have how the Graduate Education Office can work for you. Before we get started with our presenters, I'll introduce myself. My name is Katie Russo. I am the Assistant Director of Intercultural Programs here at UT Dallas. And just a few session logistics. You can see and hear us, but we cannot see or hear you, so don't worry about your microphone or your camera. You'll be able to ask questions at the end of the session, and there'll be a comment box on the right side of your screen. Right now we have the comments turned off, but we'll turn that on towards the end of the session. So if you have a question, write it down. It might get answered throughout the presentation as our presenters are speaking. So just write that down and take a note of it, and then you'll be able to put that in the comment box towards the end of the session. Closed captioning is available if you need some extra language support, and it's actually available in several different languages. So look for the CC button on the bottom right of your screen, and you'll be able to turn that on, and you'll have the words printed across the bottom of your screen in English. And I think I have 6 other languages that Microsoft Teams lets us have available, which is really cool. But before we go on, I'd like to thank the Office of Graduate Education for presenting with us today. So I'm going to introduce Beth Keithley and have her come on screen. Flower, if you could go to the next slide, and I will introduce Beth. Thank you so much for presenting, and you can take it away.
It is my pleasure, Katie. Thank you. And like Katie said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm glad you took some time to spend it with the Office of Graduate Education. So you see me, my name's Beth Keithley. I am the Fellowship Advisor here in the Office of Graduate Education. Behind the scenes, so we'll be available for questions towards the end. Brooke Schaefer is here. She is an advisor. She helps with certification and verification of your degree plan. So she's a degree plan evaluator. I'm going to try not, this is hopefully as jargony as I get, but hopefully I'll explain it all to you in a minute, but we're here to help you. In fact, I'm going to spoil my whole presentation right now by saying the Office of Graduate Education exists to help graduate education find the resources that they need to help them succeed in graduate school. But Flower, if you could do the next slide for me, please. Before I get started about our office, I want to talk about UTD's history, mission, and goals. They are uniquely tied to graduate education because of our past. So Flower, if you could do next slide, please. Thanks. So what we've got here is a picture of our founders. If you have not been on campus yet, and probably you have not, you will see we have many buildings named after these 3 gentlemen here. They were involved in you can see they're the founders of Texas Instruments. And what they did in 1961 is they had Texas Instruments going, but they wanted a graduate research center so that they could basically train up people, young talent, recruit them, train them up, and then hopefully move them into Texas Instruments. So that's the Graduate Research Center of the Southwest was what we were before we became UTD. So Flower, next slide, please. Well, I spoiled my own next slide, but here we are. So in 1969, the founders gave the state of Texas, the University of Texas at Dallas. So we have started out, next slide, please, Flower. We started as a graduate institution. That is important because that's just where our mindset is. I understand that in 1975, not all of us were born, but that was when we added juniors and seniors. So when we talk about being a young school, we are specifically very young because we didn't have freshmen until 1990. But our engineering school was approved in '86. So we had engineers before we had freshmen. We had graduate students before we had juniors or seniors. And you can still see that in some of the ways that we do things here on campus, especially how we are very research focused. And there is an independent streak in that in a lot of the ways we have students We encourage students to independent learning and independent research. Next slide, Flower. Our vision is to become one of the nation's best public research universities and one of the greatest universities in the world. You are probably here because you would like to be part of that. I am not going to read our mission to you, but basically we are here to help graduate citizens of the world into productive careers and help with research programs. Flower, next slide, please. Our goals, and I think these goals align with you. At this point, this is orientation, but hopefully you've seen them before and think, yes, I would also like to, as a student, I would like to work on innovative research and education. I would like to work with businessmen and business people, policymakers, healthcare. I would like to be a responsible global citizen, and I support groups that want to do that as well. And I want to be part of helping UTD become the most creative and innovative university in the world, because let's face it, a university is only as creative and only as innovative as the students and faculty that come from there. Next slide, Flower. So who we are now, again, you've probably seen these before, but it's always worth going over it again. We have 140 programs in 8 schools. We have 30 PhD programs. We have over 28,000 students. So we are sort of a small to small medium sized campus. 2/3 of us are undergraduates and 1/3 are our graduate students here, representing more than 150 countries with over 350 campus organizations. I will make a suggestion. I'll make a lot of suggestions, you'll make a lot of decisions when you're here, but I would, even my most introverted people, I would spend some time getting involved with campus organizations. It's a really good way to find a group of people who are interested in the same thing that you are, and a good way to make friends. We've got more than 150 faculty members, more than 800 non-tenured faculty, and doing more than $132 million worth of research and lots of new construction. We've got, in the last year, a new building, basically the science building, basically grew up next to us. So we've been watching in our office in the Founders Annex, we have been watching that building go up. Flower, next slide. And we are very proud of our Nobel Prize winner. He got his PhD here in 1977 and was part of the winning 2015 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for DNA repair. Next slide, Flower. All right, went through that relatively quickly, but I do think that is things you have seen before. What should your takeaway be from that, other than Beth is really proud of UTD history? Basically, that we were started by the founders of Texas Instruments. We have been connected with them ever since, and we have been committed to research since the beginning, especially for graduate students. So you should feel like, you should feel very much at home here, especially to do your graduate education work. Next slide, Flower. We're going to go through these quickly. Our mission is, of course, connected with the UTD mission, but more specifically, we are here to work with graduate students to help them get the best and the most out of their education. And we're also here to work with faculty members to make sure graduate education is constantly being improved across the campus. Next slide, Flower. Thanks. So our commitment to you is to offer programming and services that will help you. One of the things I want to put in your mind right now is lots of times we don't know the answers, but we know who knows the answers. So anytime on campus you are in a situation or you have a question or you have a problem and you're not sure who to talk to, you can always email us and you might get the answer. This is, thanks for your email. This is the person you should talk to. That to us is not us correcting you or telling you you've done something wrong. That is us doing our job and getting you to the resource that you need. So we are not a one-stop shop for everything, but we are a one-stop shop for answers and resources and connections to other groups on campus. So if you're thinking, I have this situation and I don't know who to ask, I'm just going to go to the Office of Graduate Education. That's great. That's what we want you to feel comfortable doing. We are here on campus right now. We're in the Founders Annex, which is a cute little building, kind of in between two buildings. If you're a Harry Potter fan, I consider it sort of Grimmauld Place. But there's our phone number. Our grad education email is a great, if you're not sure who in the staff you should be emailing, that is a great place to just start. That is looked at regularly. Brooke is on it several times a day. I am on it at least once every day, kind of going through and making sure things get answered. So questions get answered in a timely manner. And if you're interested in our events, all of our social media information is right there. Next slide, please. Okay, I am not going to introduce everyone to you, but I just wanted you to get a chance to see some faces and see who we have on campus. We are a 15 person office. Juan Gonzalez is the Dean of Graduate Education and is always happy to talk to students if he is available. He is sorry he can't be here. He has another meeting and in fact is working. I know tomorrow he's got a meeting to discuss international student, how to get them back on campus and help with all those issues with delayed visa appointments. So he is always working on your behalf. Next slide, please. And then you can see Brooke's smiling face here. We've got 2 degree program evaluators. I think I get into the services later, and then they will, like I said, they help make sure that your plan is good, and so that you don't get to the end of your education and think, I'm ready to graduate, and be told, no, you're not. We have graduate readers. And I know this is orientation, so just eventually you might be writing a thesis or a dissertation. Those 3 will help you make sure the formatting is correct per UTD rules and will help you with your dissertation defenses. So next slide, please. Thanks. So how do we help? I've already mentioned the email address and where we are, and you can always come in and ask questions. One of the things we also do is introduce you to other resources on campus by doing information sessions and workshops. So we'll do workshops with the University Career Center. We had one last week on LinkedIn. We do regular resume workshops with them. And basically what we do is we help promote them, and then the Career Center takes over from there. We do a lot of events with the library. There are just a lot of resources and things that the library does that always boggle my mind, and it's very useful to know not only who can help you in the library, but some of the, oh, I didn't even know they did that things. That the library can do. If Military and Veterans Center, we do events with the Wellness Center, the Counseling Center, our Office of Research, and the Center for Teaching and Learning. So again, this is another situation where if you are looking at our events and I wonder what the Center for Teaching and Learning does, hey, come to an information center and find out. Come to a workshop and find out. That's one of the things we really want to do, is to make it easier for you to see what it is that we do. And by we here, I mean the whole University of Texas at Dallas, because it's really easy to get into your classes and into your schedule and into your routine and not really, it's easy to get in that mindset and then sort of think, oh, I wish I had known about these things. So we do regular programming to make sure you do know about these things. Next slide, please. So I think these are a bunch of things. Yeah. So I think the next couple of slides are posters of past events, just to give you some ideas. And you can see, when we do partnerships with other offices, we do try to make them when possible or when that works, make them specific to graduate student issues. You can see the strategies for recognizing and managing anxiety as a graduate student because there are some different issues there. You can see two of my workshops, the developing the grant proposal and writing your proposal. But I am not going to turn this into an advertisement for my stuff. Next slide, please. Yep, more ideas here of what we do. You can see some offerings with the Career Center. That's the resume workshop. We do social events, the scavenger hunt, and some other events, and then internal funding. So the Mars Acceleration Research Support Program, some of you may be familiar with that. I think maybe some of you here applied for it. Anyway, next slide, please. All right, one resource that is sort of connected to our office, but not within our office, that I really want to take a minute to make sure you are aware of is our Graduate Student Assembly. It is a new group. It was founded in 2018. The president of the GSA is a graduate student in bioengineering. But what they do is they are advocates for graduate students. They meet regularly with our dean and have been really and great at bringing graduate student issues to the forefront and have gotten a lot accomplished in very little time. I've been really impressed with this group. They also do a lot of social events and programming and will also help recommend to us how we could be better. They have a website now. It's new to me. I think it was created in this last year at gsa.utdallas.edu. But you as a graduate student are already a member. I would recommend being an active member and participating in events and anything that they do that is of interest to you, because you will find when you get here that there's probably a graduate student organization within your field. So there's, a chemistry graduate student association, Arts and Humanities has a strong graduate student group. So I would recommend becoming active in both your discipline-specific group and the Graduate Student Assembly, and certainly keeping in mind and keeping an eye on those for social events and things that you can do. Next slide, please. All right, so here is a list of things we can do for you. I know orientation, and I know what orientation can be like. It feels like drinking from a fire hose, getting so much information so quickly. So again, let me stress what I want you to walk away from is the Office of Graduate Education is here to help. If you have any questions, problems, or concerns, come see us and then take advantage of the stuff that we have in place that already exists. And certainly you could come to a workshop about writing a personal statement for a fellowship and ask questions about your dissertation while you're here. So it's not, you don't have to wait for the right thing to ask a question. But so fellowships are money that is provided to students to help them with their graduate education. So I help students find and apply for funding, whether from UTD, but usually from outside organizations. We have a grant. So there's that. I have a bunch of applications on fellowship writing. In fact, I just put our my fall fellowships onto the Comet calendar, so they're up there and ready to go. We have some funding out of our office for PhD students. There's a PhD small grant, which will help with traveling to give presentations at conferences, among other things. And then a dissertation research award, which can provide up to $5,000 to help students either improve or finish their dissertation a little faster. Not that we want to get rid of you, but we all agree that the goal of you becoming a graduate student here on campus is to graduate. So we want to make sure that happens for you. We have dissertation and thesis support. When we were showing the staff, I showed you our staff for that. They will support virtual defenses. We are this fall, hopefully, knock on wood, going back to in-person defenses, but we provide support for all defenses, but we also were attending all the virtual defenses just as sort of technology support. And then for your dissertation or your thesis, we help with formatting and approving your dissertation so that it is something that you can be proud of forever, not only in the work that went into it, which you should be anyway, but the writing up of it. And then we have writing support, so workshops on writing. We have a very popular writing with style presentation that we do, and then one-on-one on guidance for personal statements, some classwork, and then, you know, various application forms. Often, if you're applying for a job, I recommend working directly with the Career Center. That is part of their mission. A lot. So if you email me and say, hey, Beth, will you look at my resume? I will say I can, and I will, but the Career Center is better at it than I am. And that's one of the examples I mean of we're here to help, but one of the ways that we help is to get you to the better help on campus. So next slide, please, Flower. Thanks. So what Brooke does and her team is what we call degree certification and verification. I know I've said this a couple times before, but basically behind the scenes, you will work with your academic advisor within the school, and Brooke and her teams work with academic advisors to make sure everything runs smoothly. So there is a manager over there who jokes that if everything goes well, you will never see him. I'm not sure that's 100% true, but certainly their group does a lot of really cool things. A lot of it is behind the scenes, and if all runs smoothly, you will never know that it is happening. We also do orientation for teaching and research assistantships. The school, let me stress this right now. So each school, so, you know, you've got the School of Behavior and Brain Sciences, you've got the Eric Johnson School of Engineering, you've got the School of Natural Science and Mathematics. The way you apply directly to those schools, that continues with the teaching and research assistantship. So if you're looking for a TA position, the school hires you directly. What we do in our office is we have a orientation very much like this, where we bring in the Center for Teaching and Learning, and we bring in human resources, and we bring in groups that are common to all TA or RA positions, and we do an orientation so that you guys have an understanding of the responsibilities of the position, the benefits of the position, and all that good stuff. We also behind the scenes do policy and other compliance related things, again, designed specifically to make sure that you can be running your classes or running your labs, running your sections, making sure, you know, your undergraduate students are doing what needs to get done, and not worry about whether you know, some random policy is being followed. We are here to help make sure that is done so that you can focus on what you need to be doing. Next slide, please. All right, I have kept this short specifically because there are a lot of questions, and I know you guys get a lot of information super quickly. I think I have said this enough times, but it, in my opinion, bears repeating. We are here to help. We are here to get you the help you need or provide you the help you need, depending on what the situation is. So please, please, please feel free to come see us. Feel free to email us. Feel free to contact us over Teams, whatever works best for you. I am hoping to see you in person. That will be exciting. We are planning to have an Office of Graduate Education open house early in September. We also have a Graduate Professional Week in early October, which is a week-long extravaganza of events designed to help you learn about your professional life. We're just starting to plan that, so I don't want to start calling out what we're going to have because I'm not entirely sure, but there's always a couple of social events, and there are always a couple of really good panels with alumni and faculty about a whole variety of things. So with that, I'm going to thank you for your time. I am going to, and I will happily answer any and all questions you have for me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Beth. And so I believe we are just about to open the Q&A. Let me check to make sure that that is open. Oh, I will open that up. Okay. Flower, can you go to the next slide, please?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Okay, and I'm going to send this live so you are not just sitting on screen there, Beth. We'll leave this on this side. Okay, so just a quick note of how the Q&A works. You guys can post your questions in the comment box. Please post your questions only once. So I have that note on screen. So the way it works is your questions will come to us. You won't see it posted right away. So what will happen is we'll get it and we'll take a look at it. You won't see it until we publish it. So Tamara, our ICP team member, and myself will take a look at it. I think Tamara might have had some internet trouble, so I will take a look. I will look at it, and when I see your question, we'll send it to Beth and Brooke for them to review, and then we will also publish it once they answer it for the rest of the group to see. So I know that some students get a little concerned when they don't see their question published right away. If you publish it, or if you post it more than once, it's just going to make it hard for us to look through all those questions. All right, so I see a question. So it looks like this is for you and Brooke, Beth. It looks like, would you also help us with courses enrollment?
Brooke, I'm going to let you take that one.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. As Beth mentioned, my name's Brooke Schaefer, and I'm a degree plan evaluator in the Office of Graduate Education, and I'm so glad you all are with us today. So excellent question. Our office does not assist specifically with registration of classes. That's going to be between you and your academic department. So depending on your academic department, you will want to reach out to them, and you know, different offices will have specific graduate advisors dedicated to assist you with your enrollment.
Excellent. So it looks like they need to talk to their academic advisor for course enrollment.
Correct.
Okay. So, and I think we have a link, and I will look it up, for contacting your UT Dallas academic advisor. And actually, I think it's just utdallas.edu/academics, I believe.
I can also do a double check of that as well.
Yeah, actually, Brooke, thank you. Check that for me. I usually send that to students in their in emails, but that's typically, and then it'll lead you to, it's a page where you can it has a list of like all majors and all schools, and you can find your course level. So master's degree, bachelor's degree, your school, and then it'll take you to like an information page about your school, and you can then get contact information. And so each school does it a little bit differently of how they group people by academic advisor. So sometimes it's by last name, sometimes it's by first name, sometimes it's just randomly assigned. And so everybody does it a little differently. And so you can usually find a general email address for that particular school. So you can send them an email and just say, how can I get enrolled in courses? And they will help you. All right, our next question, do you have a proofreading service?
All right, so I'll take that one, Brooke, because I'm looking at the questions. You got several coming up. This is so the answer to the question, do we have a proofreading service? The answer is probably, depending on what you mean by that. So keep in mind, my very smart graduate students, that journal articles where they are extremely discipline specific, we're not great at, because we don't have a representation, there are no physicists in our department. So, and certainly, more specifically within that. For some things, papers for classes, certainly fellowship applications and applications like that, yes, we do take a look at that. I will pull up, we have a form. What we'll do is you'll fill out the form with the posting the assignment, and it will be assigned to someone. There's a few of us, and we will contact you and meet with you about the presentation. So we don't just copy edit the assignment, and so you can tell my background's in journalism from that phrase. It's not proofreading, it's copy editing. They mean the same thing. But you do fill out the form, and then we'll meet and kind of talk about generally some patterns that we see. The goal is to help you improve your writing, not just correct it and send it back to you. As a result, I recommend you give us a few days. So if you do my papers due tomorrow, and we've had this happen before where student says my papers due tomorrow, can you help? Probably not. So give us a few days in order to get the form, get somebody assigned to it, get them time to look at it, and get it back to you. But yes, I will put that link. I'll figure out where to put that link, but I will put that link to the form here. But yeah, good question.
Beth, if you put it in the Q&A where there's the two conversation bubbles with the question mark, you can click
yes. So I just make an announcement.
Yeah, you can click that, and that'll go out to all students.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, so our next question. I have been selected to receive Johnson $1,000 scholarship.
Yay, congratulations.
The Bursar portal still shows me non-resident tuition under the dues section. When will it reflect the new tuition? Oh, this might not necessarily be for you guys. So to the student who's asking this question, this might be a better question to contact the Bursar office. So I would recommend contacting the Bursar office, and I'm going to send you a private reply. I believe it's just bursar@utdallas.edu. So typically, if you receive a certain denomination scholarship, university scholarship, you do get resident tuition, and you get a reimbursement from the university. So just check with the Bursar office and let them know that you've received this scholarship. And you can, they might need you to check with the financial aid office, but they will instruct you exactly how that works. So they will clarify with you, and they will be able to walk you through that process. See, for MSITM course, I have shortlisted all the courses I want to pursue. Who will be the best person to talk to, it sounds like?
I can take that question. So again, you'll want to work with your academic department. They have faculty and general advisors to assist you with working through the curriculum and making sure that you're taking the correct classes in the sequence needed.
Thank you, Brooke. So yes, you definitely need to speak with the academic advisor for those. Is it necessary to contact academic advisors to enroll in courses, or is that optional?
I would say for the majority of the classes, there may be specific notes attached to a class that rely on prerequisite courses. So a lot of times, even as graduate students, you may still need to go through your academic department for enrollment. I can't say it's an end-all be-all, but if you start enrolling in classes, if you are able to maybe enroll in some, but maybe there are certain ones that you actually have to enroll in with an advisor, that might be the case. But your academic department is going to be the first place you need to start as far as going through the enrollment process.
Yeah, I know for the very first semester that you are taking classes at UTD, you'll have a hold on your account that says cannot register online. And so that really, it simply means you have to contact your academic advisor to enroll in classes. And every single student, undergraduate, graduate, it doesn't matter, has that hold. And it basically means that your academic advisor will walk you through the process of enrolling in classes. And so after your first semester, you don't necessarily have to contact your academic advisor to enroll in classes because you'll have learned the process, they'll have gone through your degree plan, you'll know what classes you need to take. Like Brooke and Beth both said, it's, you might want to contact your academic advisor to kind of make sure you're still on track. And there might be some classes that you want to just double check, or there might be certain parameters that you need to meet or certain criteria. But definitely for your first semester, you will have to. So if you haven't already done that, reach out to your academic department to find out how can you meet with your academic advisor, or if they haven't contacted you already via email, go ahead and do that. One that's not relevant to you guys, so I'm going to skip that, but I'll give a private reply to this student. Trying to What is the duration of PhD mechanical engineering? Is it 3 years or 4 years course? I don't know.
I know it's 78 credit hours. Brooke, do you know more specifically what that translates into?
Ultimately, it varies person to person. You know, if you're working while you're pursuing your degree, it could take a little bit longer. Every individual has varying life experiences and responsibilities outside of maybe work and school. So that really is a individualized question. And I know we keep kind of pointing you all back to your academic unit, but I would suggest, talking to your department. You're going to meet fellow students, students that are currently in the programs you're pursuing. And again, everyone's going to have varying degrees of, okay, where are they at in the program? So, for one student, it may take, 4 or 5 years, whereas at present time, you have a 10-year time limit to complete your doctoral program. So there are students that take that 10-year time span. So it really varies person to person.
Thank you. I think I just published the wrong question. Sorry, sometimes it's confusing of which question to publish on this. Here's a good question for you guys. Where can we find information about the events from OGE?
I will make an announcement we have on the website, so I'm copying and pasting it right now. We keep, so social media, yes, but if you want to get an idea of what's going on, so the events are online at, like I said, yesterday in preparation for today's event, I spent some quality time getting everything loaded on for the fall. So we actually have events. We've got the Global Grad Social Hour is up there now, so you can get information on that, which will be September 2nd. And then some of the writing events that are fellowships that we're doing. We don't have much in the way of our partnership events that I mentioned in the presentations with the library and the Career Center. We just don't have them up yet. So don't take the fact that they're not there on our calendar as a sign of anything other than they're just not there yet.
Excellent. Yes, the Comet Calendar is a really good spot for finding all the events that are happening on campus, because every department publishes their events on the Comet Calendar. We do, the Office of Graduate Education does, so pretty much every single department publishes their events on the Comet Calendar. So if you're looking for something to do, if it's virtual, if it's in person, the Comet Calendar should be the first place that you look. And that is on the front page of the University of Texas at Dallas website.
And I would recommend, especially this fall semester, my events are planned to be in person. And so usually I don't require registration because I'm not 100% sure we just don't know what's gonna happen. I would go ahead and register for in-person events, because then if something happens and we do need to move virtually to Teams, you'll get that information first. So that's just my free tip on events this next semester.
Yes. Okay. So I see some questions that are not as relevant to you. I'm going to post some links to answer some of these questions, because I'm seeing some questions that are kind of duplicate questions from students. I did some private replies to some of these students, but it looks like some of the students are asking questions about the same topics. So some students are asking about the payment of tuition and fees. So this is handled through the Bursar office. And so maybe one of my ICP staff members could post the Bursar office webpage. That would be helpful. If you guys could post the link to the Bursar office. So all tuition payments and fees are handled by the Bursar office. So if you have questions about payment of tuition and fees, that's going to go through the Bursar office, and you'll pay your tuition and fees through, well, you can link to your Easy Pay account through the Bursar office webpage, and there's many different ways to pay your tuition and fees on there. I'll put a little plug in the pre-arrival modules that you're all supposed to take if you are an international student. We talk about how to pay your tuition and fees, so make sure you've completed your pre-arrival modules, because a lot of that information is going to be on there. So go ahead and make sure you complete your pre-arrival modules as an international student, but you can visit the Bursar office webpage to find more information about paying your tuition and fees. Oh yes, thank you, Leticia, for posting the Bursar office webpage. I'm going to copy and paste this and post it in the general section as well. So all students, there we go. And then we also have questions about the DART bus. So if one of my staff members could also post where students can find the map for the Comet Cruiser and the DART line, the Comet Cruiser bus. So post it in the general section would be helpful. So the Comet Cruiser, or the Route 883 DART line, the DART bus, that is free for everyone. So you actually don't even need to be a UT Dallas student to ride the 883 bus. Make sure it says 883, okay? So you don't have to show ID, you don't have to show anything to ride the 883 bus, and it is absolutely free for you to ride, and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to show your Comet card. You don't have to show a driver's license or anything like that. So it's completely free, and you can find that information on the UT Dallas webpage. Like I said, I asked my staff to post it in the Q&A, so you can find the routes for that. So absolutely, it's free for everyone, even if you have your mom or dad or spouse or child traveling with you. It's free for them too. So it's very convenient, and there's lots of restaurants and housing and other things on the Comet Cruiser route as well. So I could ride it if I wanted to, if I needed to get to one of the options available by the DART. Okay. Could you please tell me that sealed transcript is enough for removing the hold from the Galaxy portal because I graduated last month and I will receive my provisional certificate in the month of October.
I can take that question.
Sure.
So, our university registrar's office, they, as part of your documentation as a student is just making sure that all transcripts have been received. And it's just to make sure that everything is official. So as long as they receive your official transcript, one thing is we have several thousands of students, so they're processing these transcripts as quickly as they can. Oftentimes there is a delay. However, if you bring your, sealed official transcript with you, as long as you haven't opened it, you should be able to, while you're enrolling in classes, your academic department should be able to, validate that you as a student have your official transcript with you and assist you with enrollment at that time, pending that the registrar's office processes your paperwork. So it's one of those things that just doesn't always happen immediately. I will say if you have access at your alma mater to get a electronic official transcript sent to UT Dallas, that tends to go a lot faster because it's all an electronic transmission. But I would say, if you have a copy of your official transcript, just make sure you don't open it and then bring it with you when you meet with your department.
Thank you, Brooke. That's very helpful because I did not know that information. I see a question about applying for on-campus jobs. I just posted a link to the University Career Center. So that is the office. Beth already talked about how wonderful they are with resume help and cover letter help. They are also the office that helps students find on-campus jobs. And so I posted their link, so you can go ahead and take a look there. All on-campus jobs are posted through Handshake, and you can link to the Handshake and create a Handshake account on the Career Center's website. And so that's how you can search for on-campus jobs. The students also asking what kind of jobs are available for spring 2022 students. I can't necessarily tell you what kind of jobs are actually available for students this spring, but the types of jobs that are typically available for students on campus, I would say there's usually a variety. So there's a lot of student jobs available, maybe working in dining services. So working at some of the restaurants or the fast food places on campus. I know a lot of office style jobs. So working at a front desk of an office, answering emails from other students, answering phone calls. The University Rec Center hires a lot of students to manage events, manage their equipment and things. So does the student union. Beth and Brooke, I'm sure that your office hires a lot of students in similar capacities to manage events and respond to student requests and things like that. So a lot of offices hire students in these capacities.
Agree with you 100%, Katie. And I want to add, a lot of times we have to go through Handshake in order to hire students. So if you come to somebody's office and say, I'm wondering if you've got a job, I brought my resume with me, you will be sent to Handshake. I am telling you that now so that you do not feel that you are being rejected or disappointed or something's going on. I'm telling you it's UTD policy. We need to go through Handshake. So there's nothing wrong with expressing interest and inquiring, but you will get sent to Handshake to apply. So that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Beth. So Handshake is the university's method of hiring student workers. So we are absolutely required to do that. For example, we just hired some student staff for our orientation staff, and we just hired a new international peer advocate for our intercultural program staff, and that's exactly how we were required to go about it. So you can submit your resume through Handshake, you can search for jobs, you can even search for internships. So if you're on OPT or CPT, that's how you can look for internships. That's a wonderful resource for you. And so I highly recommend looking at that. Keep in mind too is, I know that you might be looking for something that is related to your academic focus or your job focus, but an on-campus job has so many transferable skills. So you are learning teamwork, you are learning communication, you are learning those soft skills that are 100% transferable to any field that you are going into. And so don't write off an on-campus job just because it's not something that's related to your academic focus or your long-term career goals. You can be really learning something in any job that you can then put on your resume and relate to your career goals. So getting an on-campus job is such a wonderful experience, and it's a really good way to network too, and to meet people on campus, to meet professional staff on campus, and to kind of find even maybe a new interest that you didn't know about. Okay. Oh, and it looks like, thank you, Beth. It looks like someone had asked for contact information, so you shared that. Excellent. We had a student who was talking about coming in mid-semester. And Leticia mentioned talking to the academic advisor. So yes, if you are planning to come as a mid-semester student, talking to your academic advisor, so working through the class situation online versus in person when you arrive on campus is absolutely necessary. Also making sure you talk to the International Students and Scholars Office to make sure that you know your I-20 information and your immigration information. There was another student who was asking about the TB test and getting that done when they arrive in October. So talking to the Student Health Center and setting up their TB test for when they arrive in October. You can talk to the Student Health Center about that as well. When will the decisions for MARS, M-A-R-S program proposals be announced? Any timeline?
Yes, there is a timeline, and thank you for putting the question that way and not saying the deadline to when you said you were going to tell us has passed. What's the deal there? So thank you for that. Many points to you. Full disclosure as to what is going on. We got all the applications. We have reviewed all the applications. We sent all of our winners to the financial aid office, and we are waiting for financial aid to tell us that all is good and we did all our forms correctly before we tell you, because frankly, we would rather have you wait than be wrong and tell you that there was some issue. So is there a timeline? I am hoping for early next week. And you can feel free to contact me, and especially if you're going to ask so nicely, you can contact me on Monday and just say, do you have an updated timeline? But I have the emails ready to go as soon as financial aid tells me we can. And I hate to sound like I'm blaming another office, because I'm not, but I do want to make sure that I can honestly say the money is about to go into your account and not be wrong. So early next week, I hope. But yes, everything has been reviewed, everything is moving forward, and you do not need to do anything. Unless, like I said, you want to nag me on Monday, and you are more than welcome to do so.
Beth, I'm totally going to nag you on Monday, just so you know.
I'm expecting everyone's like, what is her direct email again? And I'm totally fine with that. Like, seriously, if you all start working with me, and I think this is, especially if you're going to be that polite about it, not call me out on, but just sort of like, where are we on this? Or maybe you missed my email. I think more often than not, we're open to the, oops, yeah, should have gotten on that. I certainly am. So anytime you just want to ask me where we are on the thing, please, 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 please do so.
A very polite student. Thank you. And Beth is my friend. That's why I can nag her. And looks like Leticia answered this question, but I'll read it so other students know. So there's a student who's arriving to Dallas on the 15th of August. They are vaccinated with a CDC approved COVID-19 vaccination, and they have a TB test on the 18th of August, and they want to know if they can take their COVID test on the 17th of August. So Leticia has directed them to the Student Health Center. So this is a question that we see a lot of, when to take a COVID test versus your TB test. So this is an answer or a question that you should be directing to the Student Health Center. And so we can post, maybe Tamara, can you post the Student Health Center's email address in the Q&A? So the Student Health Center manages the TB test, and so they'll be able to have the most up-to-date information about when can a student take the TB test and when can they take the TB test if they've been vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccination or taking a COVID-19 test. So it just, there's rules. So they're going to have the most up-to-date information, and you can also look at their website, the studenthealthcenter.utdallas.edu webpage. But the Student Health Center will have that information because they manage the TB test and they manage the TB test hold. So how can we get the electronic copies of transcripts sent to UT Dallas? Is there a specific email ID?
Give me just a second and I will pull up the registrar's website. So here's the other thing. The school you attended in the past, it's not always an option to have the electronic transcript sent. But I would say we've all learned how to go very virtual over the last year and a half. So I would like to think that a lot more schools are probably utilizing electronic sharing of transcripts. However, let me just look at the registrar's website, and it will give us the specific email that you would send that to.
Okay, thank you, Brooke. And you can, if you click the Make Announcement button, that'll be sent to the Q&A section, so we can publish that.
Perfect.
Are we allowed to do off-campus jobs? All right, this is a good question, and this is really better directed to the ISSO, the International Students and Scholars Office, but I do know that F1 and J1 students are not allowed to work off campus. So unless you are on your OPT or CPT, but the ISSO office can give you more specifics to your particular immigration status. So it is best for you to ask them this question. So I'm going to put their email address, isssoperspective@utdallas.edu. And if you've attended the Maintaining F1 Status workshop, or if you will have to attend it if you are an F1 student, or if you are a J1 student, then you will attend an immigration workshop during your orientation. And they will talk to you about if you are allowed to work and what those allowances are. But Tamara, or actually Tamara, yes, could you post maybe the ISSO website about working on and off campus and what those, just their links for that for this student, that way they can have it. But they will have the most up-to-date information because they are the immigration people, and so they are the ones who are the experts on that. But most of the time, F1 and J1 students can only work on-campus jobs. So, yeah, so I unfortunately have to be the bearer of that news for you. All right. Apart from Flywire, are there any other online modes of payments of fees for international students? Well, we posted the Bursar Office website earlier, so there are ways to pay your tuition and fees online through their Easy Pay system. So you can pay by like electronic check. So if you have an American bank account, you can pay online through an electronic check. And that's really easy. But when it comes to doing an international wire transfer, if that's what you're looking for, Flywire is the only option. And so if you have other questions about online ways to pay your tuition and fees, I recommend contacting the Bursar office, and I'll send you that. It's bursar@utdallas.edu. You can contact them to see what those other options are. But like I said, I know that an international wire transfer, Flywire is the only option, because that's the company that UT Dallas has a relationship with. What is the difference between CPT and pre-completion OPT? And does getting pre-completion OPT affect duration of post-completion OPT available? I'm going to 100% direct you to the ISSO office on this question, because like I just mentioned about working, the International Students and Scholars Office are the experts on what you can and cannot do based on your visa status. So unfortunately, I am not an immigration expert. Neither are Beth or Brooke. And so we will direct you to the ISSO. And so I encourage you to look at their website as well. So it's ISSO Pros. Spell that right. Perspective. Can't type today, guys. So perspective at utdallas.edu. I sent that to you in a private reply, but I would recommend reaching out to them to ask them that question, because I think that's going to be the best thing for you to do, because they will be better able to answer your question about that. Somebody says, I will not be able to attend the workshop conducting on the 13th of August. I would like to know if there is an online workshop available. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll hop on the Comet calendar and see.
I'm guessing, well, my guess is maybe this is for. Yeah, Tamara just texted me. I was thinking the same lines as you, Tamara. Is my guess is the Maintaining F1 Status workshop is what you are referring to. Let me look at their webpage. So I'll take a look at their links. Well, if it is a Maintaining F1 Status workshop, I'm going to post, they should have online options, but I'm going to post a link to their Report to Campus page, and so you'll be able to see how to register for a workshop. So they have a variety of different options. If you're unable to apply for an in-person, you can absolutely find another option for you. And if you have questions about that, I still recommend emailing them. So I'm going to also post their email address, isssoperspective@utdallas.edu. So if you need to attend a Maintaining F1 Status workshop, I just posted the link. So, and then you can also email them, isssoperspective@utdallas.edu. And that is going to be the best two ways to find out how you can enroll in a Maintaining F1 Status workshop. Because yeah, I think the 13th was one of the dates, and it looks like they might not have any spaces available right now for it. I am in an H4 visa living in Texas for almost 2 years. Should I complete the pre-arrival modules? Well, as an H4 student, you are not required to take the pre-arrival modules, but you do have access to them if you would like. So you have access to them in e-learning. It's not a requirement for you because you do not have you should not have the International Student Orientation hold on your account. But if you would like to look at them in e-learning, you are more than welcome to as a resource. But it is not, like I said, it's not a requirement for you. All right. And it looks like Brooke responded to this question, where should I search for an academic advisor, or how can I get in contact with one? And so she sent the a link for the academic department contact information. Would you also, well, here, I can copy and paste this, Brooke. I
can add it to the main.
Yeah, I was actually just copying and pasting it.
Perfect.
There we go. All right, there we go. That way everybody can see it. Does the ISSO office have any information sessions coming up? I am not aware of any, but I think you would have to check their webpage. And so you can, I guess maybe if one of my staff members could post the ISSO's webpage to see if they have any information sessions coming up.
It doesn't look like it, though. They at least haven't loaded anything on their website.
Yeah. We have someone asking about international students investing in stocks. That is a better question to talk to the ISSO office on. So if you're interested in investing money here in the United States, my best recommendation is to talk to the ISSO office. We also have, yeah, I think the ISSO office is probably your best contact for questions about those types of things.
Yeah, the rules there are always changing, so I always defer to the ISSO office because I would rather defer than be wrong, because the implications of what might happen to you if I am wrong are substantial. So yeah, any visa questions, I think almost everyone on campus will refer you to the ISSO because they are up to date and as things are changing.
Yeah, Beth is absolutely right, is that we are not the ones that are trained on the visa information, but ISSO is, and they are consistently getting the newest information. And so they will have that, they will have the most recent information, the most recent training, and they have everything. So they will absolutely know the answer to your question. And if they don't, they will find it. So I've been trying to have a reply from the Bursar office, and I sent an email and haven't gotten an answer. Okay, I think you can try calling them as well. So they might be working remotely, but they will respond to, they should be responding to emails and phone calls. So if you have it, if you can't find the answer to your question on their webpage, we posted their webpage, I believe, but I can post it again. And you can also try giving them a call. So sometimes emails get, you know, they get pushed down in the inbox or something like that. I also recommend checking your spam. Sometimes an email, like it might get replied to. Check your junk mail. That's happened to me before, where it's, you know, a student has emailed me and it got sent to spam and I didn't realize it. And then I checked my spam and realized that the student's email got sent to my spam for some reason. And then I felt really bad because it had been sitting there for a few days. And so I then was able to reply to the student, of course, but if I don't check my spam on a regular basis, then I didn't know. So maybe try giving them a call if you can. That might help. Just make sure to call during the business hours of Central Time. So usually 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. So I'm registered for the online orientation for August 19th. There's no need to be in some other in-person orientation. This is an excellent question. Okay, so if you have registered for International Student Online Orientation, this is giving you access to online orientation modules in e-learning. So you will be able to take these modules at your own pace from 2 days after, or within 2 business days after you register for them in Orion. So As long as you've registered, I have given you access to those modules in e-learning, and you can take them through August 19th. And that's our deadline for you, because we want to make sure your hold is removed. And you do not have to complete another in-person session with us, with ICP, or anything like that. So now that you've registered for this online orientation, check to see if you have access in e-learning. Okay, and you can take a look at our webpage. It shows you how to get access to those modules in e-learning. So if you take a look at our utdallas.edu/ICP/ISO webpage, I have instructions on how to access your e-learning online orientation modules. If you just registered today, now you might not have access until tomorrow or Friday, right? Today's Wednesday. Yep, tomorrow or Friday, because it just takes a little while for me to process your registration, because I have to manually upload everybody into e-learning when I get your registration. So if you've already registered, so it's not an actual online session like this is, but it's modules that you can just take at your own pace in e-learning. Okay, and I'm actually going to send out a reminder email to everybody who hasn't completed their modules and say, I see that you've registered, but I see that you haven't completed your online modules. Okay. So I highly recommend that if you've registered for the online orientation, you go into your e-learning and you complete your online orientation modules. It doesn't take very long. There's 6 modules. I narrate them so you can hear my lovely voice. And there is a lot of really good information. And then it's similar to the pre-arrival modules. If you've done those, remember you have to do those as part of your international student orientation hold. You watch a video that's a slideshow, and then you take a quick quiz on what you learned, and then you get a certificate of completion at the end, as long as you've scored 100% on each quiz. The quizzes are not complicated, but it's a lot of good information, and actually answers some of the questions that you have all been asking us during this session. So it's very good information for you, and it tells you a lot about university resources and some of those things that all of you want to know. So yes, online orientation, and it's going to be pretty much the same presentation as in-person orientation. So that's why if you've registered for online orientation, you are not required to come to in-person orientation. However, if you've registered for online orientation, remember that you still need to participate and complete or some type of F1, maintaining F1 status workshop with the ISSO, because those are separate. So that will also be explained to you during the online orientation, and I sent that link already in the Q&A. Okay, so just make sure to check your email and check that information on the ISSO's website. Looks like we're running out of questions. Oh, you guys had some really good questions. Thank you so much for all your participation. Okay, so Beth and Brooke, I have a question for you guys. What is your one piece of advice that you would give to incoming international students here at UT Dallas?
I can go first. I would just recommend that you remember that both our Office of Graduate Education, as well as the International Center, we are all here to support you. And so please do not shy away from asking for assistance. We want to make sure you're successful. And so, please always feel free to reach out to us. And, as we mentioned earlier, we may not always know the answer immediately, but we can connect you with the right people across campus. And, we want to make sure that we're doing things that are benefiting you. So if you see a need for, resources, please tell us. So, we're here for you and we support you.
I shouldn't have let you go first. Brooke took my answer. No, I totally agree with what Brooke said. I think too often international students, and I get it. I mean, I don't have the same experience, but I understand the point of view where you're coming from. You don't want to do anything wrong and you're not entirely sure like sort of how things work on a campus. And so I highly recommend not shying away. Just if you're not sure, ask, because by the time, to Brooke's point, by the time our office finds out about it, just sort of on its own without you coming and talking to us about it, it has become a thing, a bigger problem than it needed to be, or bigger situation than it needed to be. And it is much better to come and say, I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure where we are. I'm not sure what to do, but I sort of see how this could become an issue, because we will help, but we do need, and I guess that would be to sort of piggyback on what Brooke's saying, that we're all here to help, but we don't come to you. You have to come to us and tell us that you need the help. And so it's just get involved, be willing to put yourself out there, be willing to ask, because like I said, by the time we find out about it naturally, it's a problem. And we 99% of the time can, if we find out about it early, we can keep it from becoming an issue. Even if it is, we can either say, this is who you need to talk to and they'll get it all straightened out for you, or, oh yeah, you just need to do this one thing and it's all better. So yeah, early and often asking if you need anything is for everybody, any office, anything you need, that is the way to go. But it's very easy to come to campus and think, oh, I'm sure they know. I assure you, we don't know. So come tell us.
That's some really great advice. We have some experts in our midst, everyone. Okay. So we had some more questions about students asking about the link for the online orientation for the F1 visa. So I sent you a private reply of the report to campus link from ISSO, but it's also published in the general announcements, the link to the ISSO website. We have a question for international students arriving on campus. What are the steps for reporting to the college and whom should we notify first? This actually, for Team ICP, maybe we could post the links to our pre and post arrival checklists to the Q&A. Would Tamara, maybe could you post those links? That could probably, or I guess the link to our new student checklist would be the best option for this student. I think that would be our good option here. So ICP has some really good pre-arrival and post-arrival checklists for students. So what to do, kind of a checklist before you get to campus and what to do after you get to campus. And we worked with the International Students and Scholars Office to kind of go through exactly what to do as soon as you arrive onto campus. So what are those kind of next steps for you as soon as you get to campus? And that's really helpful for our international students to kind of walk them through kind of what are those next steps. So you have to complete international student orientation. You have to take your maintaining F1 status workshop. You have to do, send your documents to the ISSO, enroll in classes, all these little things that, you're not going to be able to keep all in your head. And so, yes, if my team could post that, and it looks like Tamara just posted the pre and post arrival checklist link in the Q&A. And I think, Tamara, if you're also going to post the guide as well, we have a new student guide, which is really helpful. So this is a PDF kind of booklet that has lots of resources on campus, including a campus map, including our post-arrival checklist and many other things. And so it has resources about a lot of different offices on campus that will be extremely helpful for you. It's a digital version, like I said, and so that'll be very helpful for all of you when you're coming to campus. So I highly encourage you to kind of take a look at our website, those links that Tamara just posted. Our website is, we try to keep as many resources on there as possible for our new students so we can make sure it's up to date and helpful for you when you're exploring UTD and trying to get as much information as possible, because we want to make it relevant and make those resources available to you. Because we know that coming to a new country is a little bit scary, and coming to a new school could be very intimidating. And so trying to get as many resources on there for you as possible is our goal. All right, any other questions? Our questions have slowed down a little bit. We can wait a few minutes to see if we have any other questions. I know it's almost August, everybody. I know some of you might already be in the country. Some of you have major travel plans. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Some of you I might see next week. I'm looking forward to that. Getting excited. Yes, classes start in less than a month, y'all. This is crazy. Beth's excited.
I'm super excited. I miss people.
Do you really?
I do.
I know. I do miss people. I know. I can't believe I was realizing that just yesterday, that it's less than a month away till the first day of classes. I can't believe it's so soon.
Because I was patting myself on the back like, oh, look, I've got all my fall things up. I'm like, and the first one starts in like a month. Let's not get so excited. It'll be good. It'll be great.
It will be great. Someone is looking for some off-campus housing sites. Well, we can't necessarily recommend I can't necessarily recommend any specific apartments off campus directly. One of the sites that a lot of students use is sorry, I'm just trying to look it up, is this website, and I'll post it in the general. So this is the site that connects a lot of UT Dallas students. So it's dallasoffcampus.com. Keep in mind, this is not affiliated with UT Dallas in any way, but a lot of UT Dallas students use it. So the dallasoffcampus.com site serves a lot of the UT Dallas community in general. What is the break period after fall class and before spring? Oh, could my staff post?
I was gonna say, I can hop on the academic calendar here.
I was say, could you post the link for the academic calendar?
I would be happy to do that.
Okay.
I would do that.
So yes, there is always approximately, well, I was gonna say for staff, it's about 2 weeks, but for students, it's almost a month of a break between fall semester and spring semester. So if you are interested in traveling to your home country, you typically have a little bit of time. Keep in mind, you need to talk to the ISSO about getting travel signatures on your I-20. So I recommend getting those signatures as soon as possible. As soon as you book your flight, get your travel signature, because there will be a line out the door of the International Students and Scholars Office right around the month of December, and you will be waiting in that line forever. So get those travel signatures quickly. So when you book your flight in September to go home in December, get your travel signature. That's what I always tell students. That way you don't have to stand in that line. And you can, go get a cup of coffee instead and enjoy your break. But there is a nice break. So what are you seeing? Beth.
I'm seeing that I'm still muted. Depending on how you do it, it looks like final exams end on December 15th. And then, so to some of you, that would sort of be the start. And then the spring semester first day of class is January 20th. So if I am doing this correctly, which again, I put the link in for the fall academic calendar because
that's
say I'm not doing it right, but it looks like you've got from December 15th, the sort of minimum that you might have, which is the last day of final exams, which is December 15th, to the first day of class, January 10. That would be
almost a month.
Almost a month.
How nice.
Yeah.
I wish I had that kind of break.
Yeah, but
I'm a student having that long of a break.
We have December 24th to January 2nd. So one sort of trick or tip I will hand to you is that usually staff is around, for a chunk of winter break and for most of spring break and things like that, where it's quieter because students are on breaks. I'm not saying you shouldn't take your break. Absolutely take your break. You've earned it. But if you're thinking, wow, when would be a good time? So to Katie's point about getting your travel signatures early, if you're thinking, I wonder if maybe if I emailed them during spring break, I'd get a faster response. The answer is probably. Because we're here.
We are here. Yeah. So. We are here, unless it's marked on the academic calendar as like university closing.
Closed, yeah.
Yeah, we are not here. Now keep in mind, even when the university is closed, the UTD police is always here. So that is something just to remember. So if you're living on campus, your housing staff is here, the university's police is here. So they work 24/7, 365, 365 days a year. So that's good. But we still work. So Beth, Brooke, Leticia, Tamara, and I, we all work even during the breaks, unless the university is closed for federal holidays and whatnot. Okay. Okay, Leticia responded to this question, but I'm going to read it. So there's a student from Mexico traveling with their wife and daughter, and wants to know if the wife and daughter have to do their COVID test, or is it just the student? And let's see, they arrived August 16th, and student has already done the COVID vaccine last May. And so Leticia has referred the student to the CDC guidance. And so this is actually completely relevant, and I'm going to copy and paste this link to the general Q&A so everyone can see it. So the CDC guidance for international travelers should apply to everybody. So international travel during COVID-19 is very important to just keep up to date with. So they do change kind of quickly, the guidance. And so I just posted it. But if you have questions about who needs to get a vaccine, what is my travel restrictions, what are my guidelines for travel, take a look at the CDC website, because that's what UT Dallas follows. For students opting for online orientation and coming to the on-campus classes starting in October, will the courses start from the first, or is it a continuation of online to on-campus? This is probably best answered by your academic advisor, I would say. Do you agree, Beth, about how the courses would change if they're starting mid-semester?
Yes, I would. So, because there's a difference between what we're hoping to have happen, and I want to bold and underline hope several times, is that that students can come to campus, get the TB test, get all the quarantine, get all that good stuff, and then get into class. Like, our ultimate goal is to get you safe and healthy and into the classroom. things are changing all the time though. So well, that's our goal, and we don't want you to. We've learned a lot about doing online classes. Like, we've gotten a lot better at it. So we do want to make sure that you get safe, healthy, and into the classroom without missing your coursework along the way. So that's our goal. Logistically, how we do that is, I think, to some extent, honestly, still under development, and it differs a little bit from school to school. So yeah, talk to your academic advisor and be prepared for things to be updated. And I know we were just talking about how classes are starting right away, but as your arrival date gets closer to time, things might, oh, hey, we've tweaked this little thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so your academic advisor is really the best person to check when it comes to if you are going to be one of those mid-semester starting people, because they're going to know a little bit more about how classes will work for you. All right, somebody's asking about posting the link for the spring academic calendar. Can you post the general academic calendar? Did you post the general academic calendar link, Beth? I didn't check.
No, I just posted the fall one. I can do the main website. It's right here.
Yeah.
And then you can just pick any semester you want.
Yeah, Beth's going to post the general academic calendar link, and I see that there's a student who's asking about the holiday calendars for the MBA. So the general academic, and there's also the payment and refund calendar on the same link. So the general academic calendar and payment and refund calendar are all posted on the same page, and they usually have the current semester up. And then if you scroll to the very bottom, you'll see all future semesters. So you'll see future fall 2021, spring 2022, and even, they might not have it yet, summer 2022, but once the registrar's office and the bursar office, once they start establishing all those dates, they'll publish those. So it's really helpful for you to always look at this each semester, so you can mark these dates in your calendar, when our fee payments due, when our classes starting, when is vacation. You don't want to come to class on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is maybe not a holiday that you celebrate in your home country, but it's a holiday, it's a federal holiday that's observed here in the United States that we all have off of work. And so that way, not to come to class, and you don't want to be sitting in class being like, where is everybody? And you're sitting there. So make sure that you write these dates down, and you know when to go to class, when not to go to class, when our tuition payments due. Put those dates a couple days ahead of time as a reminder. That way you'll have it. Someone's asking, a friend of mine isn't able to get in touch with her advisor and able to register for classes. Any guidance? Well, I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would recommend that if you're having trouble getting in touch with your department, general rule of thumb, if you haven't heard anything within 24 to 48 hours, business days, Monday through Friday, you obviously want to give individuals working in these departments some grace and some time to respond. That being said, if you are having trouble and you're still not sure exactly who to contact, you can always email gradeducation@utdallas.edu, and a lot of times we will loop that contact in and assist you further with getting in touch with them.
Okay, that's a very good answer. I have a student asking, why is it important to register a refund account? I don't have an American account, I assume American bank account yet, so why would you recommend to international students? Well, and this is a good question for the bursar office, but I would say in general, it's important to make sure you have all of your contact information in your Orion Student Center up to date. And so this has to do with your addresses and your information, and if you have an American bank account or your general bank account information in your Easy Pay system in the Bursar office. Because if you are owed a tuition reimbursement or a fee reimbursement from the university, they need to know where to send it. So for example, we had a student earlier who was asking about, they were owed, resident tuition rate on their scholarship, and they, what if they were overcharged, something like that. Then the Bursar office would have to refund some of that money. They have to know where to send it. They have to know where to deposit that money or where to send that check to. So that's why that kind of thing is important. But the Bursar office is the best office when it comes to anything about paying money to the university. The Bursar office is in charge of it. And so the Bursar office is 100% the place to go when you're asking questions about that. And they are extremely good at what they do when it comes to money. So. Is the academic advisor the same person for all students within a department to reach out to regarding the program and classes?
I can take that one.
Okay.
So depending on your program, let's say you fall under the engineering and computer science school. That umbrella covers computer science, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and so forth. So each of those departments, so let's say you're pursuing your master's or doctorate in computer science, you're going to want to reach out to the computer science department, and then they're going to have their set of individuals who you can reach out to. So I hope that helps answer that question.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the school. Like I said earlier, some schools will break it up by letter of the alphabet that your name falls under. Some schools have, every graduate student is just by this one person. It depends on the size of the school often, or it depends on the size of the program. So every school kind of does it in their own way. When will the TBA listed classes announce their final schedule? And is it possible for a student to attend classes in both online and offline mode? Do you guys know the answer to that question?
I'm not sure on the answer for that.
I think that might be best directed to the academic department.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the academic department that oversees your classes, they are in charge of making sure that classes are posted and available to you to take each semester. So they would have the most current information as to the mode of the class, as well as the final schedule.
Yeah. Yes, that you can, so Brooke earlier posted a link of how to reach out to your academic department. So that would probably be the best link to click on. Then you can find the contact information for your academic advisor or your academic department. So if you scroll up in the Q&A, you can find that link. Somebody is saying they heard about meal plans for students at one of our webinars. Any additional information on that? Yeah, you can find information to how to purchase meal plans if you're interested on the Dining Services website. Can one of my ICP staff post that information for this student? The information on Dining Services and how to purchase a meal plan. So if you're going to be on campus a lot during the day, that's an option for you. It's something that's connected to your Comet card, and so you can just swipe your Comet card. Absolutely. Is there a minimum credit hours for H4 students each semester? I would say this is a good question directed to the International Students and Scholars Office. So like I said, I am not an immigration advisor, so I do not know about a minimum credit hour calculation for H4 students, but you can contact the International Students and Scholars Office just to check with them to see if you have a minimum course load that you're required to take based on your visa status. And I wanted to remind you that there is a town hall going on today. So the university, and I'm going to pull up the link. The university has a town hall happening today at, I think it's at noon, am I correct?
Yeah, why don't you talk about it and I will put an announcement up about it.
You are wonderful, Beth. Okay, so it's the Chief of Staff, Dr. Rafael Martin. He is going to host the town hall. So the town hall is virtual, but talking about the return to campus for this semester. And so taking questions from students and faculty and staff about what does that look like for the semester, and what are any guidelines going to be, and what is the outlook going to be for the semester. And so it's highly encouraged for the campus community to join in so they can get information on kind of what does the fall semester look like when it comes to being on campus after, we've all been virtual for the last year, and how is that going to be managed and how is that going to look like. And so I think Beth is going to post the link, and I know I'm planning to attend because I really do want to know. I haven't been working on campus. I've been working mainly remotely for the last year. So I'm looking forward to the return, the grand return to campus and seeing students again and being able to be involved with students again. So some of the questions, those of you have about, switching from online to in-person might be answered there. I'm sure he'll be joined by some other faculty and staff members who might be answering some questions that you might have that Beth and Brooke and I cannot answer. So that's a really good event for you to attend today. And so that's going to be at, Beth, we said 12 o'clock Central Time. So in just over an hour.
Yeah. So if you guys are as bad at time zone math as I am, it's 10:42 Dallas time right now in the morning.
So it'll be at about 1 hour and 15 minutes from now.
And the link is in the general announcements.
Awesome. Thank you, Beth. I think it'll be a similar style of event that we're having right now, a Teams live event. All right. I think we have time for a few more questions. Someone is asking, should we request for a new I-20 if we're going to join midterm, even if the visa is approved for August dated I-20? This is a good question for ISSO. So anything when it comes to requesting your I-20 or your visa information, I'm going to direct your question to ISSO because they will have the answer for that. So like I've said before, I am not an immigration advisor, and I do not want to give you the wrong information. And so I highly recommend asking your question to them. And so I'm going to put their email in the reply because they will have the best answer for you of explaining exactly what you need to do in order to come midterm. Is the health center available for dependents? So if I have children and she gets sick, will there be a doctor at the University Health Center that can prescribe medications to her? My understanding is the Student Health Center is simply for students. And so if you are enrolled in classes at the university, yes, you can go to the Student Health Center, but it is not available for anyone who is not a student here at the university. So your dependents cannot be seeing a doctor at the Student Health Center. But there are other options. So there's urgent care clinics around the university. So places like Primacare or Care Now. There's also, you can get a doctor, or you can see see a doctor if you have a personal doctor or something like that. There's also, of course, hospitals and emergency rooms if it is a true emergency or something like that. Okay. Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. Okay. Do we have any other questions for Beth or Brooke while we have their attention? I think that we've answered a lot. Well, then I would like to tell everybody thank you so much for attending our event. We do appreciate you coming and getting all of your questions, and we hope we answered all of your questions. Beth and Brooke, did you post the OGE email address?
I did, but I can do it again, and I'll put mine in there too. Okay.
Just so students have it. So if you didn't get your question answered, or if you think of a question after you leave, and then you'll have it. Remember to attend the town hall in about an hour if you're interested. We hope that you can. Awesome. Perfect. Oh, we have one. Oh, we just have someone saying thank you.
Oh, thank you guys, because yeah, you guys could have done a lot with this time, and I appreciate that you spent it with us.
Yes, thank you so much. And we will be publishing this on YouTube, and you can access that through our International Student Orientation page. So if you have any friends who weren't able to attend, make sure to let them know. And just give me about 2 business days for the video to load and edit and all of that. So we are so happy that you were able to attend, and thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.